Well, hey there everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another episode of What's on the Wall. And today we have the Blitzer Beetle. So for the longest time, I thought this thing looked super cool and wanted one in the collection. And it just took quite a while to both, I guess, pony up a little bit extra money for it. You know, it's not one of their cheaper end kits, but it's certainly not one of their higher end kits. I think it's about 190 bucks. And, you know, I bought it and decided to hold on to it for a while. So I actually had this kit for probably close to 4 or 5 months, if not almost 6. So every year we go down to the beach in Nags Head, North Carolina, hang out for a week. And over the last couple years, I've decided to take a kit down with me and build it. So this was my build last year on vacation. And, you know, it is an awesome looking car. I wouldn't technically say it's a great one to take on vacation to build because there is a lot of painting that needs to be done. And I kind of went a little bit further down the road than I needed to. So I actually filled in the roof here and smoothed that out. And that did give me some issues. There's still some faint minor fissures in the paint. And if you want to kind of understand how all that happened, there's a link to that video here. And I go into, you know, the details about that. But yeah, we filled in the roof and it just did box art on it. I absolutely love the way this buggy looks. And I think it would also look really awesome in that gunmetal color. You know, these bright colors over that metallic dark gray would look really cool, or the gunmetal. Overall, the kit works great. The chassis is, well, this is debatable. The chassis is the Falcon chassis, but there's been changes made to it and things redone about it that it's not necessarily the Falcon. They consider it a Falcon chassis, but yeah. But anyway, the Falcon chassis did come out in 1986 with the release of the Falcon. In 1991, they released the Bearhawk on that chassis. Then in 92, the Stadium Blitzer, which is another one of my really high up on the wish list that Tamiya would re-release. And then the Stadium Thunder in 96. The tub of the chassis is basically Falcon. I think the rear end is kind of Falconish, but the front end has definitely been changed away from the Falcon front end. So it's a Falcon-ish chassis, I will say that. It's built bone stock. I do have the torque tune motor in this one, just to give it a little bit more oomph. You know, taking it to the beach on vacation, I wanted to make sure it had plenty of get up and go in that sand. Sand is probably one of the most power robbing, performance robbing environments you can drive on. So I want to make sure it had a little bit more oomph than the Silver Can did, and it worked great. Overall, it was a very simple build. The chassis went together very quickly. The body is a little bit more involved, but you don't have to, you know, do all the detailing. I went in, I chromed around all the windows, window openings and everything. We chromed the windshield wipers, the door handles, all of that, you know, added all that little bits and pieces of paint on there. You know, you could honestly just paint this thing blue, throw a couple sponsor stickers on there and just have a blast with it. So a warning about, you know, changing the color and the paint scheme. This front piece is molded in that orange. So it's the same kind of fluorescent-y bright orange that the wheels are in. And those wheels just look sick. I love those. The wheels and the tires on this are absolutely perfect. I love them. But that front is molded in the color, so you will have to paint that as well if you change up the theme of it, or you're going to have this big bright orange nose. You know, if you're going for a Rudolph bug, maybe it'll work. But, you know, other than a little bit of tediousness with the decals, because you do have to get them perfectly lined up when you're putting them on, and they do kind of fall into this groove into the hood, and then the fender ones gave me some fits. Now, I did put these on with the wet soapy water method, the way you can slide them around and get them in position. Now, that helps and hurts, because sometimes when you're doing that, you will have to go back after, you know, 28, 48 hours, let them, you know, all the water evaporate and dry out, and then go back and push it back into crevices and curves and stuff, because sometimes it'll have a tendency to lift a little bit when it's not a perfect adhesive to body contact. But overall, I think these buggies look fantastic. They drive super well. Comes with the oil-filled dampers on there, so you do have a nice tunable suspension, and no bounce of the friction shocks. Like I said, the tires on here work tremendously well. You have a spiked rib on the front, and then you have a spiked with little crosses in the rear. They're super chunky. They have just about the right amount of give to them. They're not super soft, but they're not super rigid either. They just hook up and drive really well, and they did fantastic out on the sand, except in the really loose, dry, sugary sand. It did want to spin out there, but in that damp surf, it worked fantastic. But that is pretty much the Blitzer Beetle. Not a whole lot to this guy, but it is a terrific, fun car. Now, I have not run this on the track yet, mainly due to I don't want to destroy this body. So I am looking to get a Lexan Beetle body and probably painting it up in a different design, just so I can run this more often. I take it out in the yard occasionally and put it around, but for the most part, this one stays on the shelf because it is an awful lot of work to get these things in this nice, shiny, pristine, well decaled up state to go out there and roll it across the track and scar up the entire roof. I'm always hesitant to tear them up. I put a lot of work and effort into making them look nice, so tearing them up isn't on the top of my priority list. And, I know the first scratch is always the worst, but it's also traumatizing. So that's going to wrap it up today for the Blitzer Beetle. If you guys are looking for a fun, cool, two-wheel drive, buggy, car, truck-ish thing, this is perfect. Like I said, it's about $190. Tower Hobbies, A-Main, I think they both have them in stock. I'll put a link down below to the affiliate link I have for A-Main. It doesn't cost you guys anymore, but if you are interested in buying something, if you start with that link, whatever you buy, they'll kick back to me a small percentage of their profit, so it doesn't cost you anything. Anyway, guys, everybody out there, you guys be happy, be healthy, be safe, and I will talk to you guys later. Enjoy your weekend. Bye.